Hello, hello. Today I want to be whispering from your one ear into the other one and talking to you about scary movies, thrillers. Actually, you might think it's strange topic for an ASMR video, but it's not, because scary movies can actually be good for you. They can relieve stress, help the immune system of your body, because they increase the white blood cells. And I don't know why, but for the last few days I've been watching different horror movies, and me and my friends have been discussing different sort of scary movies or thrillers. And I thought, why not make a video about my favorite top 5, or in terms of horror movies, let's make it a top 6 scary and thriller movies. I am completely alone in the house, and there is no one around. If you hear strange noises, it means there are ghosts around in this video. To be honest, I think real horror movies are the hardest to make, and that's why serious directors tend to stray away from that genre. Because, let's be serious. These sort of movies where people enter into these dark rooms at night without turning off the light are just hilarious. And then they'll enter some sort of a dark basement, and there'll be a voice like, "Help." Really weird noises. And these people would be like, "Mom, is that you?" Or calling out for their friends like, "Cindy?" Really? Does Cindy sound like that? Or your mom? That just, please. And besides, let's be serious. What human being in their common mind would go into a dark basement at night for no reason without turning off the light? And then, that classic scene when the door shuts in the background, and then they look back and they're like, and then they still continue walking forward. That just, come on, no, it's stupid. However, there are real masterpieces in this genre, movies that are fantastic, and I have my top 3 most favorites and 3 honorable mentions. So, number 1, my most favorite horror/thriller of all times is The Others. The Others. of those rare movies where you forget you're watching a movie. You get sucked in to the deep, dark atmosphere of the movie, full of mysterious things. It tells a story of this young woman who's living in this big house with her 2 children in the 20th century, in 1940s, and her husband has gone to war, so she's waiting for her husband to return from war. One day they wake up and they see that all the servants have suddenly disappeared without even taking their salary, without explaining anything. Also, the 2 children have a very rare disease. They're allergic to sunlight. If sunlight does terrible things and will happen to them, such as horrible scars on their skin. After a while, they hire new servants, and strange things start happening in the house. And this woman, who is extremely religious, so religious that despite the very young age of her children, every evening she's preaching to them what happens to little children who turn their back on Christ. And so she doesn't believe in any sort of ghosts and anything like that. And she blames her servants for everything that's happening around. I will not be spoiling to you the mystery of the movie or the twist, and I want you to watch it to discover it yourself. And some of my friends who watched it and said they loved the movie, they didn't even get it. So watch it, it's beautiful, it's just wonderful. Everyone plays fantastic, the script, the camera work, even the children. And child actors can be pretty bad in movies. You can't blame them, they're children. But here, even the child actors are fantastic. Especially the young girl, she's a top-notch actress. So go and watch the others. And then share with me what you think about it. Okay. My second most favorite mystery thriller is The Devil's Advocate, with Al Pacino as the devil himself. It tells a story of a top-notch lawyer who's never lost a case. He gets hired to work in this big law firm with the director, the name of which is John Milton. And he also happens to be the devil. And here we see the struggle of one's vanity, desire to always win, and the possibility to do so, with understanding that people whose interests he's representing are actually guilty of terrible, terrible crimes. I must say, Al Pacino is just head over heels fantastic. I don't know how could I describe him. He plays the devil like you almost believe he is the devil. He plays him so charmingly, with a sense of humor, knows many languages, is the soul of any company. And for one moment or two, you start thinking, well, he's really not that bad, is he? Because he's so charming. And yet behind, you see the destructive nature of him and his people. If you really appreciate psychological horror, you'll love it. You'll love it. I love it. And finally, the third honorable place in my list has a Japanese film that is very different to the two that I mentioned. Very different. It's also #1 favorite film of Quentin Tarantino. And I'm talking about Battle Royale. Battle Royale. Battle Royale is filled with scenes of blood, cruelty, like no other movie. You know how everyone is watching or taste this film that's called Hunger Games? Well, Hunger Games is a kindergarten family movie in comparison with Battle Royale. It's really bad. It's not strange that a Japanese movie would have such an intense level of cruelty to it, because the Japanese are really good at horrors. And in fact, if you have seen their cartoons based on their fairy tales, well, I must say some of their fairy tales can be quite cruel too. I love Japan, and obviously they're as good at horror movies as they are at making fantastic and kind anime. Well, I guess they're almost good at everything. Battle Royale tells a story of these high school children who are taking a bus trip. They're on their holidays. But then their bus is stopped. They're transferred to this place, looks like it could be a school actually. And there is their one of their teachers. They used to teach them physical exercises, like their sports teacher. And he represents them. this cheerful video telling them they have to kill each other within a certain period of time. Otherwise, if they refuse, they will be murdered. And they have to kill each other until there is no one left alive anymore. Again, why I compared this to Hunger Games is because you can see some similarities right there. But I'm telling you again, Hunger Games in comparison with Battle Royale is like a Disney movie, like a Disney cartoon or something. So if you are, well, too sensitive, then don't watch it, because you'll have nightmares. But if you're not, then watch it. You'll love it. So, these were my top 3 favorite psychological thrillers and horrors. I must say I don't watch horror movies all the time, but then sometimes I can watch several movies in a row. I want to add 2 honorable mentions to my list. Movies that I like in some way or another, but they're just not my favorites. One film is The Grudge. I'm pretty sure you've seen it, unless you're really far from horror movies. The Grudge. The Grudge 1. I watched it when I was probably around 14, and that did freak me out at that age. Again, I don't know how I would react to it today, and it has some pretty scary kind of scenes, but for the longest period of time, every time I was going to sleep, I could feel someone pulling their hand under my pillow, so I'd literally take my pillow to check if there is anyone there. Why I'm saying Grudge 1 is because there are 2 other parts to that movie. The second one is like, The third one, don't watch it. It's terrible because the ghosts look as if they've been powdered in flour, and it just looks funny. So, 1, if you haven't seen it. And the second honorable mention would be The Skeleton Key. The Skeleton Key. It's a very interesting movie, and I promise you will not get the twist until the very end of it, like the very last seconds, and that's why I kind of like that film. I like it. Again, I will not tell you the story of The Skeleton Key or The Grudge, because they are just honorable mentions, not my most favorites, but they're really good. And 2 other films that I also want to mention is, the first one is The Shining. I watched that film yesterday, and I must say it's shot beautifully. Even if you don't like that film, it's a beautiful movie. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, some of the scenes are just wow. I must say that some people, when I watched the reviews later, said that that's one of the scariest films they've seen. For me, it's not the case. It's not nearly one of the scariest films that I've seen. But it's one of the most beautiful films that I've seen because it's just shot so beautifully. And I think they should have used the original ending for it. I sort of had a scary movie week this week. I also watched The Mirrors. I didn't really care for it at all. Again, had I been 15, probably, yes, I probably would be scared. But in your 20s, I don't know, like, ripping off the jaw, it was, like, what was she doing? She's just, like, moving her head up and down in the bathtub. If someone is trying to rip your jaw, most likely your hands are going to end up on your face. So, and again, this kind of thing where you enter this dark room, and why the heck would you do it? Come on, are you a freak? So, but I didn't hate it that much. I mean, it's just for younger people, I think, not for people who have seen many scary movies. Alright, I just felt today like talking to you like this. I think I'd never done a video like this before, and I don't know why did I choose this scary movie topic. But I think you should go watch my top 3 movies that I mentioned, and then watch an ASMR video that I think will put you to sleep. Because again, if you're healthy, well, I mean, none of us is completely healthy. There are no completely healthy people. But scary movies can be good for you. If you have seen these films already, tell me what you think. And of course, share some of your favorites. I think you already kind of was able to get an idea what kind of films I like when it comes to scary stuff. I prefer more psychological horrors because I think trying to cross your viewers out is just a cheap move. I don't like being grossed out, but I like being scared a little bit, from time to time. So I want to wish you good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. I hope you have the sweetest dreams, spiced up with a little mystery, a little bit of darkness never hurt nobody. And besides, you can always watch the Meet the Fockers after watching the Battle Royale or something of the sort. So, at the end of the day,